Traveling for someone with autism can be overwhelming. So in this video, I'm going to go over 5 tips of how you can help a child or an adult with autism be able to handle a vacation trip. And after 25 years of doing this, I've amassed all kinds of tips and tricks and workarounds. So I'm going to go over the top 5 that seem to work the best. Some of them are a little odd, but they work. So once you watch this video, you should be able to get tips that are going to help your individual be able to not only have a successful vacation trip, but be more included with the family, less chances of meltdowns, and making for great memories. So let's get into this. So the first thing that you really need are sensory regulation tools. And this needs to be specific for the person that you're working with. Different people need different sensory input. But examples of this could be like fidgets, resistant bands, sensory socks, compression clothing, weighted lap or neck pads or a vest, noise canceling headphones, or even an exercise ball. A lot of those are self-explanatory. You can find them easily, but the specific one I want to highlight is the exercise ball, because that might be a little bit of an oddball one, especially in the way that I use it, but it has been a lifesaver. First, it's important to highlight that you need to get the exercise ball that would work best for the individual that you have. So if you have an adult that you need to get the exercise ball for, you probably need an extra large size, and that's going to measure like around 27 to 30 inches. If it is a child, maybe 10 to 15, then a large 23 to 26 inch would probably work. If it's a smaller child, you probably need like a smaller medium. Just another tip, the larger the ball, the longer it's going to take to air that up. Sometimes the extra large size could take about 15 minutes to air it up with the hand pump that they come with. So how I use this, that's kind of an oddball way, is that I take this with me through TSA, in the airport, in my carry-on. Yeah, I'm that mom that does that. Because you can imagine what it's like when you're trying to get your kid to handle the weight of waiting to board on the plane. And if your plane gets delayed, you might need something for sensory input. And these exercise balls can be a lifesaver. So they collapse down really quite easily. They fit inside my carry-on backpack along with the hand pump. I've been through TSA with it with no problems, just plastic and rubber. And then when you get on the other side of TSA, you get to the waiting area. That's where, when my child needs it, and a few times he's not needed it, then I pump that sucker up. And he can get all of the movement that he needs. He can bounce on it, he can roll on it, he can just sit on it, he can lay his stomach over on it. Sometimes he lays his stomach on it and puts his iPad on the floor, and he just kind of like moves back and forth. But the point is, you don't have a lot of space in those areas, and this gives you really good movement. Also a way for he can self-regulate to handle that. Once I know our plane is there and we'll be boarding shortly, I deflate that. It doesn't take very long to deflate. Stick it back in my carry-on, fly to the destination, get to the hotel. If we're staying in that hotel for a week, then once I air that back up, I don't have to mess with it for a week. And he has it the whole time we're in the hotel. It's actually pretty quiet. We've never had anyone complain from the floor behind me or underneath of me, but sometimes it is good to get a first floor hotel room so you don't have to worry about that. It's just been a great tool, and they're like $20 on Amazon to get, and you can use this in a variety of different settings. So any place where you're going to sit for a while. I've taken this when we've done like Christmas get-togethers and we're going to be at a family member's house for a while. It's an easy one. The fidgets are also really great to have on a plane because they're small, they're usually pretty quiet, and it's important to not think about the fidgets as being toys. They are tools, and they help the nervous system to regulate before a meltdown happens. So I would give yourself grace if you're worrying that you're bringing a toy and you're getting your kid to be on a toy. It's a tool, and it's okay to have that tool to use it as you need. My number 2 tip for you is to bring visual supports and predictability tools in whatever means that is that's specific for the individual that you're trying to help. So Examples of these can be printed visual schedules for day-to-day activity or from one transition to the next transition, picture cards or icons for choices, photos of a hotel, beach, park, or the mode of transportation that you're going to use. Simple first and then visuals work great as well. The point of this is that visuals turn unknowns into expectations, and that in turn lowers anxiety. The more your individual with autism knows what to expect, next will lower their worry and help them feel supported. This can vary from their ability level, so maybe you don't need the actual photos and you could just have something written out. With my oldest son, I rely heavily on the photos, and we have a whole Velcro system. With my youngest child, I sometimes will write things out, but usually we just go over the schedule for the day. So he knows what the expectation is and he feels supported in that. And here's a plan B for that. If you're going somewhere and you end up forgetting your visuals, usually you can just Google any image you need to on your phone. I had this happen once. We were going to Target and I didn't have my icon. I use logos for places that we go, and I couldn't find the Target one. And that was important because for my oldest son, the difference from going to Walmart or to Target is Target has a Starbucks and Target sells that popcorn, and he really wants to get that popcorn. So letting him know that we're going to Target makes him happy and willing to get out of the car because he's going to get the popcorn. So tip 3 for me to pass on to you is preferred snacks and drinks. I can't count how many times that I've gone someplace and my kids are very brand specific. I know that's a common thing with autism. We joke, oh, they only like 5 foods. And sometimes really that's true. But they can be very specific about what they like. And you may not be able to find that item everywhere you go. We live in southern Indiana and we have things here other places don't have, like Grippo's barbecue potato chips and Ski soda. So if that's not my kid's favorite thing, but if it was and we traveled somewhere else and they didn't have that and it's something that can just cause a lot of issues, I got to take it with me. Individuals with autism often have safe foods that are important to them and will give them comfort to know they have access to it. Having familiar drinks and maybe their favorite reusable cup, it can be very important. Having these snacks on hand to help you during times of delays or a closure for travel can just be a lifesaver. What's important to think through here is that it's a huge plus to have something they're familiar with, because when they're going someplace they've never been, there's a lot of unfamiliar. And so having something that they know they like is going to be very comforting to them. I mean, this sounds weird, but when I've even traveled with an air fryer, because I can go to stores and get like the frozen chicken nuggets or Ore-Ida fries are a big deal, but usually in a hotel room, you only have a microwave. So I will bring an air fryer if I'm traveling by car. I don't do that through a suitcase. But having that predictable food cooked in a way that they like it to be cooked helps us to make them have the best experience they can when they're traveling. Another tip I would give you about this is to have some of those familiar snacks in your carry-on luggage when you're waiting at the airport, and you might need it on the plane as well, because that's where you're going to be really select to find things that your kid likes in an airport. So that can be a lifesaver as well as just to have it in your carry-on. Okay, on to number 4, and that is comfort and familiarity items. About barely said that right. But anyways, this is something you really don't overlook. It is whatever is specific to your individual that they use in their everyday life that makes them feel comforted and in their safe place and is familiar to them. This is really important because we're having our individuals go places that they don't know. And whenever and this is true for anybody, if you bring something with you that is familiar to you. It just makes the travel easier. If you're staying in a Airbnb that's somebody else's home, doing something or having something from your own home makes it a bit more like home for you. Some of these items can include a favorite blanket, pillowcase, stuffed animals, familiar pajamas. Having the same bedtime routine can be very important, or their morning ritual they do every day. Bringing their own nightlight or a sound machine can be very helpful too. For my youngest son, he always wants his own blanket. I don't know why. He doesn't like hotel blankets. We're traveling right now today, and we stayed in a hotel, and in the back of my car is a comforter because the hotel comforter wasn't good enough. But it's literally a thing. He can't hardly sleep if he doesn't have that comfort item. It's simple. I just stick it in a bag and carry it, so it's not a big deal, and it helps him be able to sleep. And then another plan B tip for this, there may be some items that they just can't bring. Maybe they're too big, they're too heavy, whatever it might be. So they can get anxiety about not having that item. So a trick that I have used, and for an example, my youngest son hates leaving our cat behind, but we obviously can't take our cat and stay in hotels and such. So we have a cat bed set up where the cat always loves to sit, and I have a Ring camera on that bed, and I just check the app on my phone so we can check in the cat, and he sees the cat is still there, the cat is happy, the cat is there waiting for him. So it lowers his anxiety. So maybe if it is some giant stuffed animal or their entire bed, put a camera on it so they can check and know, yeah, your room is safe, your stuff is there, you're okay, and their stuff is okay. The last tip I have is using coping or calm down tools. And this one is really specific to the person that you have in your life. And these things are what can help calm them when they are overwhelmed and will hopefully prevent them from losing control. This is something specific, so it's hard to give you examples, but for one I can share. With my youngest son, when we travel places and we walk a lot, so we've been to Chicago and we've been to New York, we don't use our own car, we're using public transportation and walking a lot. And there's a lot of people that are on the sidewalks, they're walking by you kind of lose some of your personal space. What he specifically does is he plays music on his phone that matches the environment of where we are at. And it's in his mind of how that works. But it works wonderfully for him. So I make sure he's got his headphones on. He's got a data plan on his phone. He cues the music up for himself. And the songs usually last from the destination of one place to the next. And that works really great for him. I'm sure that you know your individuals enough to know those specific things that can be very calming for them that can be used with travel. Other examples I know other moms have used are calm down cards. These are just something that you can go onto Google and look through to find something that you can configure specific for you. Sometimes it's scripts that you can use. It can be deep breathing visuals that you use to help them calm down when they become overwhelmed. Another thing that can help a lot is having access to their tablets and downloaded shows. Like Netflix, Disney Plus lets you download things. So if you're someplace and you lose access to Wi-Fi and internet and they need to stream something to help regulate themselves, that's a tool that you could use. If becoming visually overloaded is an issue, using dark tinted sunglasses or hats, visor, something that blocks out that sun when you're out on the beach, you're walking in a city, doing that type of travel. It's another calm down method that you can use to avoid that overstimulation. Well, those are my 5 traveling tips. I have many other tips of other things, but I'm going to save those from other videos. These are just basic ones that anyone can put together. And in the description, I'm going to have a lot of this written out for you as well. If you do packing lists to get your family ready. These are all things you can look into adding into your packing list, and creating specific things that you use just for travel as well. So good luck with your travel. I hope this helps, and until next time, thanks.